Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Jody's Basement. This is Jordan coming to you from South Jersey once again with our good friend Rob in Iowa. How you doing, Rob?
Not bad. How are you?
And we're here to do another one of what is becoming kind of a weekly thing for us here, counting down the albums of a band's discography. So last week we did Transatlantic. If you haven't seen that one yet, please do check it out. It's in the playlist, ranking the albums here on the channel. Today we're going to tackle, we're going to step up a little bit, go with a little more challenging one, and this is the band Asia. So we're gonna do both of us have been fans since the beginning, and Asia's gone through some changes, and obviously they're no longer around, but we're sticking to some strict ground rules here. Only the studio albums that are fronted by John Wetton. So that would be a total of, what is it, 7, I think? It's 7, yeah. 7. So no compilations, no live albums, no John Payne albums. Albums fronted by John Wetton. We're going to take it from 7 to 1, from least played to the most played, and we'll see how we rank them. I'm anxious to see how we compare on this. Rob, as you may not know, I should mention, is one half of a very cool prog rock band called Liberty's Exiles. I'll put their link again down in the description if you wish to check them out. They've got a ton of stuff out. Please do that. Liberty's Exiles, cool stuff. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to get right to it at number 7. Rob, you get us started.
All right. This was hard for me this week. It was more difficult than Transatlantic by far. I don't know why, but it just was. Something had to be at the bottom, and no, I love it. Omega.
All right.
I love this album. Finger on the Trigger is fantastic. There Was a Time. This is the one with Emily on it, which is a bonus track. I see why it's a bonus track. Don't care for that song, but I mean, the rest of the album, fantastic. I mean, wow. How about that cover?
Yeah, the covers, there's no denying the covers on the entire catalog are fantastic. Roger Dean.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
Yeah, that's a cool album. That was the second album they had released after they had come back after a long hiatus. Good choice there, and you'll be hearing that album name sooner or later on my countdown. My number 7 goes way back, an album that I initially despised and have come to like it over the years, and that is this third album, Astra. I love this artwork, the purple. You don't see purple in much of Roger Dean stuff, but this is the third album, and I mean, this was a state of flux for the band. It was their third album, 1985. Wetton was fired after the tour, and then he would only come back if Steve Howe wasn't in the band. So Howe was out of the band; they weren't even speaking, and they bring in a strange choice, the guy from Crocus.
Yeah,
some Swedish Crocus, and he brought like a more like arena rock sound to him. It's not as proggy. I mean, it's still got some good tracks. I like Go. Voice of America is good. It's listenable, and it's better than I originally thought it was when it came out. I couldn't stand it. So yeah, it's something like you said. Something's got to come out at the bottom, and this is the one for me, number 7, Astra.
Right.
What do you got for 6?
Okay, there's one of their albums that I don't own yet. I ordered it; it never came. So here's the live album from that tour. I'm going to go with Phoenix here. Yeah, it's a fantastic album. Great songs. I think it was the first one after the full band reunion. Weirdly, only their third album with the original lineup. Some really cool stuff on that album. I enjoy it, and I wish it would have showed up, but yeah, I ordered it 3 weeks ago. Still not here.
Big ballyhoo for that album when it came out. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, they're getting 25 years later, they're coming out with a new album together. So yeah, again, you'll be hearing that one in just a moment. Not quite yet, no, as number 6. And I think you'll probably be shocked at this one. But number 6 for me is the second album, Alpha.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah. And the reason, and I couldn't decide whether the reason for that is because I love the first album and I was disappointed they went sort of in a more poppy direction. I don't know if it's because of that or just because the songs weren't as good or a combination. Oddly enough, my 6th favorite album has my absolute favorite Asia song of all time, and that's The Smile Has Left Your Eyes, which of course is even more ironic that it's so poppy, and I was complaining that it's too poppy, the album. I don't know, I'm weird, but I mean, it's got, look, Don't Cry was the last song written for the album, and I think it's fantastic. The video was like cost like $200,000 or something like that. The video is crazy, and it's got some good stuff. I mean, "Open Your Eyes" is good. "The Heat Goes On" was a radio hit. "Eye to Eye." I mean, I like it, and again, phenomenal artwork. And Mike Stone produced it. And oddly enough, the first album produced by Mike Stone, this one, Mike Stone, the production doesn't seem as I don't know, top notch as the first album. Just me, but yeah, it comes at number 6.
Fair enough.
All right, what do you got for 5?
Going Astro. So not too different from yours, but I mean, just that intro to Countdown to Zero. Anybody who's watched a movie has heard that count or that intro. The what is it? The Dolby surround sound noise.
Right.
And yeah, I gotta agree with the album cover. Not as impressive on CD as it is on vinyl. The cover, your vinyl it's beautiful. It's not as beautiful, but great music. I love the album.
Yeah, cool. No, and it's gotten and it hasn't the hate, like I said, the hate that I had for it back in the day certainly does not exist now. But my number 5 is going to be Phoenix. You had mentioned it earlier. And the ballyhoo for them coming back, such a big deal. It was mostly self-produced. The critics didn't love it. It has An Extraordinary Life on it, which is one of Wetton's great songs. His signature songs. I know he really loves it. He wrote a whole essay on it in the booklet. But yeah, this is a good album. It wasn't great, I think. Judging by my list, 3 of the top 4 albums from Asia yet to be spoken about on my list came out after this album did. So it was the start of getting a lot better for them. It was a nice comeback. But I have it ranked at number 5, Phoenix. Number 4.
This one hurt. The debut.
Oh,
yeah. My favorite album cover of all time.
Wow.
Love it, of course. I was 2 when this came out. Not a bad song on the album, but I rank everything higher than this one. Although Cutting It Fine is one of my favorite Asia songs. So something we had to differ greatly somewhere.
Yeah, that's a greatly differ right there. That's for sure. We'll definitely talk about that shortly. Yeah, it's just a groundbreaker, and yeah, we'll get to it. But yeah, good stuff. It's a great album, and like you said, if you rank that album 4th best in discography, you're an Asia fanatic because yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of great music to be taken in from them. But my number 4 was the last album they did, and that's Gravitas. And this is an album that would have been number 7 for me before we started talking about doing this video. And then I started listening to it again. I've listened to it 4 times this week, and I was like, wow, what did I don't know how I just didn't connect with me early. I don't know. Obviously, the band didn't have Steve Howe anymore. Sam Colson was the guitarist, the young dude here. Does a nice job. But there are some phenomenal proggy songs. This album is a lot proggier than I thought. I had, and one of the things I had to write down because I didn't want to forget was lyrically. I mean, this is definitely during a time when Wetton knew his days were numbered. The Closer I Get to You, which is one of my favorite songs in this album, it's like cancer consuming my soul, nothing there, nothing left, should I die? And then, of course, the last song on here is Till We Meet Again, which is really a goodbye to his friends and family for all intents and purposes. I mean, it's overtly a goodbye. So it's very emotional lyrically, and it's really proggy. There's some cheese on it. Joe DiMaggio loves a little cheesy. But this is a really good, and I have a feeling if we waited another 6 weeks or so, this might be even higher than number 4 for me. So I'm really happy we did this video because I rediscovered this album, Gravitas. So what do you got? What do you got for number 4? Number 3 rather. Yeah.
Like you said, fantastic album. I believe this was Wetton's last studio album. I think he had a live one out with UK after this, but last studio album. And like I said, like you said, fantastic. Valkyrie, Gravitas, Nyctophobia. The chorus lyrics cheesy as hell, but the rest of the song phenomenal.
Yeah, you sing it in the shower. Nyctophobia.
Yeah. And now it's a word I know, so that helps. I go around telling everybody, "Oh, you afraid of the dark? Listen, that's nyctophobia." I sound smart now. Thank you, Asia.
That is an SAT word.
It is.
Nyctophobia. And just a note about John Wetton, just because I had to throw this in. I don't know about you. My personal belief is he's one of the most underrated musicians in the history of our lifetimes, because he's always played. And think about it, he was in what was it, UK, Roxy Music, King Crimson, Asia. He was in all these bands. And I think the reason why he doesn't get the due is number one, two reasons. Number one, when you say bass player, you think like Chris Squire, Geddy Lee, Billy Sheehan. Wetton's not like this virtuoso bassist, like you put him at the top. But that's one reason. So, and the second reason is that he's played with around all these guys. I mean, he's played with Robert Fripp and Carl Palmer and Alan Holdsworth. And I mean, he's always been that kind of second guy, even though he's the front man. And I think he doesn't get his due. I think he's just a phenomenal musician and one of the next to Neil Morse, probably the greatest at kind of towing that line between prog and pop and all.
Right.
I severely underrated as a musician.
Fantastic songwriter too. Just his songs. I mean, the Icon stuff with him and Jeff Downs.
Yeah,
people forget about that. Great albums. I mean, I don't think there's a bad album with his name on it.
No, I agree. I mean, he's done everything. So, I mean, it's sad to see that he's not here anymore, obviously. But man, he really left behind a great legacy, just as an aside. I think it's up to me now for number 3, right? I think, yes. Yeah, number 3 for me is Omega. I love this album. Part of the reason why I love this album is because I remember playing it when it came out with my kids back and forth to school. And my kids got into like Listen Children and I can't remember, maybe Holy War, maybe. I can't remember which ones they would always sing, but it kind of like that, Daddy, put it on. So it kind of has that little sentimental thing. As a dad driving your kids and singing your music, it's like, but yeah, I really love this album. I thought it was a big step up from Phoenix. I think it's got a good combination of proggy and pop songs on it. And so that's why I put it up there at number 3 for me, Omega. Top 2, Rob, what do you got for number 2?
The Sophomore, Alpha. Just love this album. With the production, like you said, maybe not as good as the debut. But the songs, the music, everything was great here. Although what I read that the record label thought that the bigger hits were from Jeff Downs and John Wetton on the first album. So they only let Steve Howe write one song, and it's not even on the album. It was a B-side. So I could see why there were tensions and why the band fell apart. I mean, even Greg Lake filled in for a show on this tour. Well, the last few shows. Great album, but a lot of tension, and you can kind of feel it in the music. I mean, Howe seems a little more reserved, but I still love the songs, love the album.
Yeah, Howe said in his book that he felt it was rushed. You can see, it happens a lot. So sophomore albums, the first ones to hit, the record company's like, let's do this. MTV needs a video, let's go. But yeah, I can see where you're coming with that one, and I can see where Howe would be pissed. I mean, I would be too. He was a big part of the band. The band's like, the record company's like, no, you're in the back seat now. But my number 2 is going to end up being your number 1, and that is, if I can find it here. Hold on, here it is. Triple X. Yeah. And I know you're going to talk great things about it too. This album came out, we were doing our radio shows around this time, and I played the crap out of it on Raven Radio, and I just fell in love with it. This album is, in my opinion, next to the debut, the closest thing they've done to just towing that incredible thin line between prog and pop. Songs like Bury Me in Willow that gets me every time. It's probably my favorite song on the album. El Gato Nero. I love Judas. I love Ghost of a Chance. I like them all. I Know How You Feel. It's just a great record. This is a cool picture disc that they released last year at Record Store Day. It's pretty neat. But yeah, this is a great listen all the way through. And yeah, what more can you say? Well, you're going to say it, I guess, now, right? With your number 1.
Could say it, yeah, with the Triple X. I'm not fancy. I don't have the deluxe edition, sadly, but fantastic. I remember when Face on the Bridge came out. It was the lead single. It was like, man, this is good. They hadn't written that well since the last album, but just a fantastic song. And I love Tomorrow the World. I think the lyrical sentiment, the world is a scary place, but with a little luck, we're going to make it. I don't know, just a great song. No Religion is pretty cool. Ghost of a Chance. I mean, I believe there's a ghost of a chance we can find someone to love and make it last. Wait, that's Rush, not Asia. Wrong
Perhaps
band.
in the future.
But anyways, yeah, love this one. Number one. Can't ever get enough of it.
Nice. It was also the last album they did with Steve Howe. And it was a Mike Paxman produced that. And I didn't know that name when I saw that album come out. He did a couple of Asia albums, but I thought the production was really good on it too. But yeah, my number one, man, is I can't say enough about this. Not only is it my favorite Asia album, it's also one of my top 20 albums of all time. This is my original from way back in '82. So every single song on it, the production, Mike Stone produced it. It has this like Journey escape sound to it. It sounds big, like it's, an arena type sound. And the songs, like Only Time Will Tell, just that perfect blend of how on the screen, the great guitar work and the poppiness. It's you can sing it in the shower. And prog fans loved it. So I mean, when working, how many bands can you say that about? Asia's one of those bands. And the album cover is so iconic. The whatever that thing is, a dragon, I guess. Just so cool.
And it's a big step up from Video Killed the Radio Star.
That's right.
Step up.
For this, right? With Buggles.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, big step up. Although I do have a soft spot for Buggles is actually on tour now, opening for Seal, of all people. But it makes sense because Trevor Horn is their producer and he's half of Buggles with Jeff Downs. So, they're going to be here I'm not going, but they're going to be here in a couple of weeks. Seal with Buggles. I don't think it's funny.
Downs with them because I know he's also working with Yes right now.
Yeah,
new album announced.
Short tour. It's probably I don't know how many dates they're playing, but yeah, definitely Downs and Trevor Horn. Pretty cool. So man, that's interesting. I knew that would be good. I knew it.
Oh yeah.
And if nothing else, man, I'm listening to Asia. I've never listened to more Asia in a week, and I've loved it. It's been a fun week.
It has.
So again, guys, thanks for joining us very much. I really appreciate it. Please put your list down below. Part of this is to become involved and have a healthy discussion about this kind of thing. Where do you put these albums? And perhaps one of you has, Omega #1 or even Astra #1. That'd be pretty interesting. Do put your list down there and stay in touch with us. Hit a like and subscribe, and we will hopefully catch you next week with another one. We're going to be figuring out what that band's going to be, and we'll see you then. Until then, thank you very much for joining us, guys. Have a good one.